Thank you. We are wasting no time at all this afternoon, so if I may invite your panel to the stage. Gentlemen, please. We have four excellent, distinguished speakers focusing on the mid-market sector. So we are starting the afternoon off thinking with our brains, not our hearts. No egos allowed in the room for the next half an hour. So, Farouk, if you'd care to join us, please. This is Farouk Aliyu, the Managing Director from Shelter Suites and Hotels. And we've got Magdi El Aidi, the Hotelier Interiors Group. Reda Fassé, from the Development Director for North and West Africa from Accor. And finally, but definitely not least, Alain Seba, the President of Golden Tulip for Francophone Africa and East Africa. Thank you for your enthusiasm, ladies and gentlemen. It will not be misplaced. So, gentlemen, as you know, I don't believe in commercials. I don't believe that we're here to tell anyone how good we are. We've been in conference for a day and a half now. They know how good you all are. So I'll give you 2.5 minutes each, if we may, just to introduce yourselves and your focus on the mid-market. So why don't we start at the far end with Magdi?
So it's working, yeah. My name is Magdi El Aidi. I'm coming from Hotelier Hotelier Interiors Company. We present to the African market two companies of our group, Hotelier Holding Limited, and another company called Budget Hotel, which is exactly at the heart of what you're talking about, the mid-range hotels. That company came down to the market with a very innovative and creative idea where we present a pre-designed hotel interiors collections, very much value engineered and very much modern in design. That's based on one of our studios in China, and where we have them completely realized as a sort of sample rooms where clients can walk in, select their sample room, the color scheme they require, the corridors, the reception counters, the restaurant, and the coffee shops. So maybe if in the mid-range hotel, that's 90% of the hotel interiors being solved and value engineered. That helped many operating companies and many owners and developers to open quite fast and quite less expensive and much faster in time. We have now one project in the GCC, which is 21 properties, straightforward one line, and it's in mid-range, and we plan to open the 21 pieces in just 24 months of time frame. Thank you.
We'll give you the extra 20 seconds. Farouk.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Farouk Aliyu. I run a company called Shelter Suites and Hotels. Shelter Suites is the hotel development arm for one of the largest private real estate developers in Nigeria, Urban Shelter. We've been in business for about 10 years with a focus on developing and operating hotels. We have the countrywide franchise from Wyndham for Hawthorne Suites, the extended stay hotel. We recently also done a joint venture with T3 Hospitality, a Spanish-based outfit, for white label management. The property we have in Abuja will be the first to go in the portfolio for West Africa. On the kind of mid-range, end, we've got a plan for 8 to 10 cities between northern and southwestern Nigeria that we want to do mid-market hotels for. These are cities that we believe in. A lot of the international guys would call these kind of tertiary or secondary cities. But given that we are Nigerian, these are kind of core cities for us. These are cities that we believe in, and we think good 60 to 90 room hotels would function well there. We have plans to do a 250 key Movenpick in Abuja and another branded hotel in Lagos. So that's kind of our motto. We do the big branded hotel in the big cities and the smaller independent hotels for the smaller cities in Nigeria. Thank you.
Farouk, thank you. Reda, what are Accor up to?
Thank you, team. My name is Reda Fassé. I'm Director of Development for Northern and Western Africa for Accor Hotels. The mid segment and the eco segment is very crucial and important for us. We operate today 64 hotels all around Africa, only in these segments, including 38 hotels in the eco and mid-scale and eco and budget market, and 26 on the mid-scale market. And we have a very huge pipeline for the next coming year on this segment, which is a key priority for us, but we could talk more later about the potential of this segment.
Reda, thank you very much. And finally, Alain.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Apparently, we're not very successful, but people are coming. I'm Alain Seba. I'm the president for Golden Tulip for French-speaking Africa and East Africa. So you may ask you the question, so why Golden Tulip? It's not a mid-scale or a budget brand. But Golden Tulip is one of the brands who belongs to the group called Louvre Hotel. And Louvre Hotel, our core business is on the budget and the mid-scale hotel. We have brands called like Première Classe and Campanile, and those brands, Première Classe, Campanile, probably represent 85% of our income for the group. So talking after on the mid-scale hotel, I'd be very happy with you to share a little bit of our experience.
Alain, thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite words is involvement. And that's because it starts with an I, and if you look closely enough, there's a me in there as well. So I'd like you to all to adopt that word as well, because this is a panel session for you. And we're very, very welcome your questions, your statements, your comments in English and in French. So anything to involve you, keep you awake after that wonderful lunch. We'll be delighted to hear from you. So whilst you're thinking of your first 2 or 3 questions, let me start by asking the panel one or two that I prepared earlier. So let's wake people up. And Farouk, you just mentioned that you've got a huge development plan for Nigeria. And Trevor Ward, in his presentation yesterday, told us that the state capitals of Nigeria are prime for this style of hotel development. So which of the brands are you talking to get their interest in these very key and interesting markets?
That's a good question. We've had a conversation with a few of the brands, obviously given our long-standing relationship with Wyndham. We've spoken to them in depth. But what we found is the brands are kind of nervous about these cities for one reason or another, what we know about northern Nigeria, security and things like that. So they've been rather cautious because of the perceived security or threat issues for these cities, and also the size of the hotels. Most of the big brands would want something in the 150 key range. We would want something about half of that. So we're having conversations with them, but there's a disconnect between what we want to do and what they want us to do.
So although we said no advertising to all the brands in the room, that sounds like a pretty good invitation to me. Alain, you just mentioned 2 very, very popular brands, Campanile in particular, Première Classe. Have you got plans to bring those brands into Africa?
Yes, we got plans. We just realized that the market is moving very fast. Today we've been concentrated on the upscale business, on the upscale market, but we have business traveler, and business traveler, they not all can afford to pay high price, so they want to feel secure to the product they're going to have. And I think that the product, on the mid-scale and the budget, they have a big opportunity for the region. Coming back to the business traveler. They want to feel secure on their experience. They want to have a product where ils ont confiance avec. C'est just few French words because we have the trust. Merci. The trust, a product where they can trust. Now in the region, there's big opportunities, and I think that we're going to come up with some good project, in countries like Ivory Coast, even in Togo. Senegal, Cameroon. This is where we're going to be very soon.
Rural Nigeria?
Nigeria, Nigeria and Ghana also. That's part of the group too. Yes,
Very-
absolutely. Okay, if you want me to develop, the entire, pipeline, that's going to take a lot of time. So, which is not the prospect, not the subject. I think that the argument is probably to explain why, the mid-scale, the mid-scale hotel, has got big opportunities. And if I can add 2 points, maybe that just to share with our friends is that product, that kind of product, has a benefit because it's a standardized product, which means that, the people, they know what they're going to get. The room are exactly the same everywhere. So there's no surprise. And the other point is because it is a standardized product that you have the control on investment. So your package on investment is going to be controlled, it's going to lower, which is going to improve your return on investment. As investors and developer, what you're looking for is what you're going to put in the bank. So the return on investment is going to be there. And you're going to have better return on investment on product like on the mid-scale and the budget hotel compared to some other one. And I'm sure that my colleague close to me is going to agree with me with that.
And Magdi, that sounds a great introduction to what you can offer this part of this conversation. So obviously the timing and the cost are crucial for development and crucial for understanding the return on investment. If your part of your inventory is developed in China, for example, how do you get the pods from China all the way around to West Africa?
Your question is how do we get products from China all the way down to West Africa? We are about to open one property in Cotonou, which is Golden Tulip for Alan as well, and we managed to. Over there we created their mock-up. We have met their designers. We created the mock-up, and then they came in to check it up. And after all that process, we just did the normal work, manufacturing it, shipping it, and now we are installing down there in Cotonou. What I want just to add to what Alain just have said, it's before we are in the market for the last 20 years. Initially, when we received customers whom are into mid-scale hotels, it's technically perceived that those clients do not have enough funds to make 4 stars or 5 stars property. But now it's not the case. Now this is the wise people whom are just hitting return on investment. It's much faster to get the investment back and much higher return on investment. Even on revenue per square meter per every property, and that's not a secret now. Every big brand have created their own mid-scale 3 stars line and even 2 stars line. And look at the number of hotels in Accor that doing on in Ibis, in Adagio, and also in Le Campanile Premier Class. Even in local companies like Rotana, when they created Centro, now Centro is their harpoon that initiating and starting any new market with their Centro line, not Rotana, not Rihanna line as well.
And Reda, something that I think is really quite interesting about the Accor portfolio are your dual-branded assets, because I think when you have a need for just the hotel rooms, and the Ibis product is perfect for that, and you combine it with the full service of a Novotel, for example, I think you hit a lot of the benchmarks that a lot of these cities need. What is the driving force? What is the decision-making in the Accor camp for dual branding versus one large hotel?
Thank you, Tim, for this key question. Definitely mid-market and budget market is a key priority for Accor for many reasons. The first one, I would like just to quote the famous American billionaire Warren Buffett, who has only 2 rules for investing. The first one is rule number 1 is never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. And in this segment, definitely, if we have the perfect size of the project, we will never lose the money. And from our point of view, I share completely the point that you mentioned before, Alain. For us, there is key main aspects that motivate us to develop the mid-scale and the budget market. The first one is the investment budget. due to the standardization of the specification, we have a budget investment which is tightly controlled. This is the first important point. The second point is the market potential. There is a real potential in Africa, and all the recently study shows this important point. And this point and this trend is reinforced by the emerging in the coming year of a real mid-class of African travelers. If we take the example at Accor level, 51% of our guests are African. It's definitely our first clients in Africa. The second emitting market is Europe by 39%, which is very important. The third reason is the performances. These segments offer the highest ratio in terms of return on investment and in terms of P&L when we operate this hotel. Better than the 5-star hotels, which I call it the Star Wars segment. Reason number 4, it's a high level of return on investment in a low risk environment. It's the better segment in terms of resilience to the different crises that we could occur in the last past years, for example. Definitely, it's a key segment for us. And we are a leader in Africa in this segment with such brands like Novotel, Ibis, now Ibis Stars and Ibis Budget. We have just launched a few years ago Ibis Budget in Morocco on the budget segment.
That's great. Gentlemen, thank you. I'm sure that's... we have a keen and excited question. There's a microphone coming, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucky Honorade George. I'm the publisher of African Travel Times magazine. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. 17 years ago, when I was a young reporter, I knew of the big stars, the Sheraton, Hilton, managing 4-star, 5-star hotel in Nigeria. But these days, if we leave the market open, I'm sure the Starwood, the Accor will manage a 1-star hotel in my country. Not just in my country, they will manage a 2-star hotel in West Africa. How do we reconcile? What is the room for the local industry, the local players, to participate? Because I'm one of the few people in Nigeria now. We are saying, we're pushing it to the National Assembly to say, please, can we limit the international chains to 4- and 5-star hotel so that we allow the local players to deal with 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star hotels? So how do we reconcile this? Because this is very, very crucial. At the moment, I can tell you there are more than 30 or thereabout international hotels in Nigeria. None of them has assistant general manager that is Nigerian trained. All of them are foreigners. So the top is always very heavy. I've been around with all the Hilton, the Sheraton, and all that. So we don't have any Nigerian at this level. So if you take over the 2-star hotels, you took over the 3-star hotel, where is the room for the local hotel management company to function? Farouk knows what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if the second half, we'll pass over to Rob and his panel talking about human capital in a moment. But for the first part, Farouk, how are you going to challenge these big boys here?
So I think it's a 2-part question. I've never been a fan of protectionism. I believe in free markets and I believe in competition. So I've never believed in preventing one entity from partaking in a certain industry. I believe competition gets the best out of us. You see what your competitor's doing, that motivates you to improve, and that motivates you to get better. I think what's going to happen now in Nigeria is the better we become at running hotels, the more competition the local guys will give to the international brands. You can't blame the local guys for wanting to bring, if it's Accor, they bring a French general manager. The hotel industry in Nigeria and in West Africa in general is still quite nascent. We're one of the first international hotels to have a Nigerian general manager, and that gentleman, I had to fly to California to interview him. So I think you'll find a lot of guys given more responsibility as more hotels come up. It's inevitable. You know, you're going to find more Nigerian assistant general managers. You're going to find more Nigerian general managers because one is going to be cheaper. So it's going to make financial sense for the hotels to hire and train these guys. And it's going to be easier. So I think, you know, we're still quite young. I think it's going to get there. I'm not a fan of let's protect a certain industry from the international brands or what have you. I think as local investors, we need to up our game to make sure that we can compete with these guys to offer a product that's as good or better than them. They've been doing it for 50 or 100 years. Okay, it's going to take us a while. Let's learn from them, and let's do it better than they do. No offense. And, you know, we can make money. It's 190 million people. There's a lot of money to be made in the hotel industry. So, you know, so that's my view. You know, that's my view in terms of protectionism. And then in terms of human capital, I don't want to take up too much time. I think the hotels need to invest in training local people. There are brilliant Nigerian people. We just need to take the time to educate them, to train them, so they know how to run a hotel properly. It's a blank canvas, and you can turn that canvas into whatever you want to. So that's just what I think.
And now I'm a proud holder of a PhD in tourism marketing in Africa. I'm one of the few guys that specialize on what is on ground in Africa here. But I'm telling you, if you leave it open, 2-star, 3-star hotels, can you compete with the Starwood? Tell me any African brand, not even Protea. You saw the experience of African Sun in Nigeria. I was a PR consultant to the Zimbabwe government on tourism promotion in West Africa. African Sun came to Nigeria. Did they compete? Where are they today? I'm sure you have some of the staff we train in African Sun working for you.
Okay.
So there is no
thank you very much. Can
we need to sort it. That is why I'm here to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. We're running out of time now.
It's not possible for an African local with limited resources to compete with Golden Tulip, to compete with Starwood, to compete with Hit. It's not possible. I have been to the Gambia. I've seen it. The tour operators call the shot. They dictate how much they pay for the hotels.
So you make a very valid point, and we'll be delighted to continue this conversation after our session. Are there any other questions from the floor? If not, I'd like to continue that discussion by asking the brands here, from their point of view, how do you run, Rede, for example, these fabulous Sofitel hotels and an Ibis budget under one Accor umbrella? I mean, the skill sets from your staff alone are incredibly difficult, incredibly different even.
I understand really well the question.
If we're talking about the mid-market segment, but under the Accor banner, you train people to run Sofitel hotels, and their skill set is very different for running the mid-market hotels. How do you pick and choose the right staff for each?
You're right. There is many different topics. I think the quality of service, the spirit of service is the same. And we have some courses which are common to all our brands. And after, when we go up with some upscale and luxury brands like Sofitel, we have specific training because we are searching some specific skills. But to be honest, it's a key issue in Africa. And with our Accor Academy, our internal academy, we spend a lot of time to train the local talent, because in our vision, we have to rely on the local talents because it's the future of Africa. And in Africa, Accor is African. If you can see, for example, the management of our company in Africa, most of the executive committee, we have African talents.
Thank you. Gentlemen, just to give you a warning, we are out of time. I'm going to ask you for one closing statement from each of you about the mid-market segment. If there's one message you'd like the audience to take away from this, please, now is your opportunity. Alain?
Yeah, just only one message. I think the brand on the mid-market, on the budget hotel, the brand awareness is very important. Okay, for a project to be successful, has to be attached to a well-known brand. Whatever it is a brand, that's important.
In this segment, there is many important things. The first one is a good location. The second one is a market potential. The third one is the awareness of the brand. With a brand like Ibis or Novotel, we usually write a success story when we study all our hotels under operation, 95 hotels today under operation in Africa. All of them are successful. And the last one and important thing is that in the budget and mid-scale market, it's high level of return investment with low risk. And this is the key to invest in this market.
That's absolutely key. Thank you. Farouk.
So 2 quick points. One is a response to Mr. Lucky. If you look at the African market, you take a hotel group such as Azalai Hotels, that's an African brand that has succeeded in the face of competition. Why? Because they've been able to run and operate their hotels efficiently. So that's a brand that other Africans can look towards to learn from to see how they can stay competitive. I believe wholeheartedly in competition. That's just how I am. But in terms of the mid-market, I think it's a safer play. A gentleman from Bond Hotels once said, "Do you want a return on equity or do you want a return on ego?" If your ego isn't big, you want to look at what's going to make you the most amount of money. And I think by doing a mid-market hotel, you make yourself available to a wider range of travelers than the high-end properties. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Madgi.
Yeah, I mean, following the segments you have just heard right now, I mean, if you think with your mind, not too hard, if you are just neglecting the ego thing, mid-market hotels is the right place to invest in, especially in countries where young populations are representing more than half of the entire population. So it's the coming market, it's the proper place to invest in. Thank you.
Perfect. So if I may sum up, ladies and gentlemen, if your wallet is larger than your ego and you want it to stay that way, think seriously about the mid-market segment. And if you do, then you've got 4 experts here who can help you deliver that wallet to even greater things. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking your panel.